Hey everybody, it's Sugar Bar Philosopher. Welcome back out to the channel. Today we got another exciting episode in our series with the HK CC9 and self-defense ammunition. This time with Liberty Ammunition. Their ultralight. Should be a good time. Let's get to shooting. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Today we're talking about the Liberty Ammunition Ultralight. It is their 55 grain plus P 9mm ammunition. We're going to test it out of the HK CC9 today, and we're going to see how it performs. This is sort of a unique design. It's a very light for caliber, 55 grains, fills the space of a traditional hollow point, and almost looks like a flat tip or a round nose, or flat tip FMJ, but it's got a very thin shell inside that expands and actually is designed to fragment, and then a little core continues on to get the penetration depth that you're going to want out of it. We're going to see how this performs out of a little smaller gun that has a 3.3-inch barrel. The HK CC9, great competitor on the market, really enjoying this pistol. Solid design out of HK. We'll see what it does in the market, if it can compete with the P365, given SIGs all of their issues, and then also with the Springfield Hellcat, the Kimber, Mako. There's so many that are out there. The M&P Shield. There's so many great Micro 9s out there. So really this is a representation of that, and we're going to see how short barrel guns use these projectiles and if they work and if they would be wise for you and to choose for your self-defense round. Okay, with that said, let's go down, take a look and see what our testing setup is for the day. Okay, well, this is our test setup for today. So what we're going to start off with is 2 layers of denim, 2 layers of t-shirt, 2 inches of clear ballistic gel. Very similar setup to Gun Sam, slightly different. He uses 4 inches, I use 2 inches to start. Then we're going to hit our 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard, sort of like a rib simulation. Medium density fiberboard has similar hardness factor as bone and very similar water density as bone. Beyond that, it's not exactly like bone, but it's something for us to stick in there. And then we have clear ballistic gelatin. Now I have tests comparing 9mm and clear ballistic gelatin, usually in organic gelatin compared to clear ballistic gelatin, which is what the FBI uses. You're going to get just a little bit less penetration, a little bit more expansion in the organic gel than you would expect to see in the clear ballistics. That penetration depth changes when we add the 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard, so the core tests begin to correlate just a little bit better. Okay, so with that said, this is our test setup for the day. Why don't we get back, start sending some rounds down in. Okay, we are set up with this Liberty Ultralight plus P ammunition. One of the benefits or the claims with this, and I have tested other varieties from Liberty before, is that it's getting close to rifle speed and velocities out of it, and it's going to fragment and do things that are very similar to the 5.56 round. Again, 55 grain out of 9mm, 55 grain out of a 5.56 gun. They claim on this box that we should be getting 2,040 feet per second. We're not going to get that with this short-barreled pistol. So do we get the performance that we would expect? Again, with a rifle round, is what you hear typically with ballistics. Rifle rounds do more damage because they exceed this velocity, and when the velocity exceeds 2,000 feet per second, it does something different in the tissue than more of a pistol round that is just kind of crushing its way through. So we'll see if we can see any evidence of that, and we'll see what it does on our target. Enough yapping, let's shoot. Right, we got 2131, over what the box said. Let's see if we were able to capture it. I don't know. All right, well, we're going to try this for the second time. The first time, it went way too low. I don't know why. I don't know if my point A and point impact is off with this round. Nevertheless, we're going to aim a little higher. We'll see how we do this time. .2151. Second time I didn't turn on the camera, but let's see what's going on. We're seeing just right off the bat, not very much penetration. So this is kind of getting all caught up in our medium density fiberboard at about the 10-inch mark. even our projectile isn't going very far. This may be where a different round from Liberty, like their Overwatch, it has a little bit more solid one, would do a little bit better. But let's just take a look and see what it's doing to that MDF. Wowzers. Look at that. That is the second shot. This is the first shot that you probably did see some slow motion from. This is the second shot. It's expanding and blowing up before it gets to the medium density fiberboard. I would prefer for it to blow up after it hits that, but you know what? Doing something in 2 inches deep into someone, I don't know. Okay, now this is what we have from our thing, and yes, you can see these are the 2 shots that are in here. We got it started, this is the first shot, you can see it starts expanding at about the 1/4 inch mark and is blowing up and going through there. That makes me wonder if, you know, again, you have various angles on a person. You're fighting someone, they're on top of you, they're close to you, they're moving around. Maybe you don't have a straight on shot. A straight on shot, this is going to do a lot of damage, but at an angle, above them, below them, underneath them, maybe it doesn't make it to the heart, and I think that's a concern. With our terminal ballistics. So yeah, just shattered this. One of the biggest holes I've ever seen in our medium density fiberboard, and that's saying something. This would definitely put a hurt on whoever is attacking you, and my guess is, unless they're on drugs, they're gonna say, dang, I'm in trouble. All right, let me change this around so that maybe you can see just a little bit. That's our first one. Again, the fragments just expand out and go. Now, we lost the pellet for the first one. The other ones, they expanded. They only got to maybe the 3 inch mark in the second one that we shot. That's, again, that's probably, I mean, that's definitely going to hurt someone, but I don't feel like this is enough. I'm not so sure I'm a big fan of this version of the Liberty round. I have seen it do better. I've seen the 10mm do better. I've seen the 357 SIG do better, but those were different rounds. This is that little disc that is the result. Again, probably a 30 grain projectile that's remaining, 20 grain, 30 grain. Yeah, we may have to try some of the other Liberty offerings. That was not what I expected. I expected better performance than what we got here today. I don't think I mentioned it, but the last one, the second shot into the gel block, we got 2151 for its velocity. We're now just going to shoot into clear ballistics. We'll see what this thing can do without medium density fiberboard, without clothing. We'll see, hopefully we can capture it with our slow motion camera. Camera's on, camera's working, bullet loaded. Let's see what we get. We hit the block, 2142. Okay, so let's take a look and see what we did. You get a better view of it without all the other crap around it. So again, as we take a look as this enters, it starts off at about the 1 inch mark, 1/4 inch mark, 1/2 inch mark, and is all done with its fragmentation out at about 4.5 inches. I think we get a little bit slower when you have that medium density fiberboard in. Some of these fragments don't get all the way through. It definitely did a number on that board, absolutely blew it out. And then again, we see that it only gets down to about 10 inches. In my opinion, not a great round. Now, sure, stack this in with some hard cast, stack this in with some flat top FMJ, stack this in with some HSTs. This is doing a phenomenal job. This might be a great thing if you live in an apartment. This might be a good thing if you're worried about over penetration. It's not going to over penetrate. There's many reasons you may like this, whereas I perhaps don't like this particular version. I think it's certainly something to consider, but in that first little bit, it is going to put a hole in whoever you are shooting or whatever you are shooting. And that's it may not immediately incapacitate, but it's going to make them rethink their life choices for sure. All right, well, let's move on to some other tests. Okay, well, I have my Garmin Zero C1 out, so we will get some additional ballistic readings. A little bit more, give us a little bit bigger of a sample size. I'll put that up as I'm shooting so you don't have to hear me yap as much. We got 5 rounds. Let's see how it performs. Okay, for that 5-shot group, we had a min of 2070, an average of 2126, and a max of 2163. So my first question was out of that short-barreled gun, would we get a velocity that is commensurate with what the bullet was designed to do? And the answer to that is yes. We're getting acceptable velocities out of that little 3.3-inch barrel. Standard deviation of 33, so the loading is all over. Average kinetic energy, 552 kinetic energy foot-pounds. That's pretty awesome. I mean, like, this is going pretty fast for a little 9mm 55 grain out of 3-inch barrel. That's pretty awesome. All right, well, let's move on to some accuracy shooting. Let's take another look at this projectile. Again, there we go. Zooming in, very hollow, very lightweight. This is super lightweight. But again, it looks like we have sort of a hybrid, maybe a steel bottom and then an aluminum or brass type case in there, but really an interesting case design. Well, we are at 7 yards, which is where I like to do my testing for our HK CC9. This is a self-defense 9mm. It's around the average of where most self-defense shootings take place. And so we're going to see how this round with this gun prints on paper. I know the inconsistent part is me in all of this, but that's okay. Sometimes ammo does weird things when you start going out a little bit further distances. You print it on paper. I've had bullets that break up midair. They looked like they broke up in the gel, but they were already broken up hitting the paper. So we want to check for that. We want to check if the bullet is stable. Is it tumbling? Are we getting weird flyers? Things like that. That's what I'm really testing for. Again, we have 5 rounds, so we'll see how we do. Oh, and of course I dropped the last one. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's just fine accuracy. And that was me. That was that last one. I'm like, oh, dang, if I get them all in the red, I'd be happy. I didn't. Okay, well, today we had a great time with the HK CC9 and the Liberty Ultralight ammunition, the 55 grain version from Liberty, and they have several. They've got a civil defense version. They've got a Overwatch version, which is a little bit heavier projectile. We may have to try some of those out. So far, I wasn't really impressed with the ultralights out of this short barrel in terms of what they were doing with the ballistic gel, especially when they had that medium density fiberboard in there. Yes, it made a huge hole in that, and you'd have a big hole in your ribs, but I really want to get more into the vitals, and I just don't know if that would be there. I've had debates with some of my friends here on the channel about that, but for me, that's my choice. But I'd love to hear from you. If that's an excellent round for you, please use it. And hopefully this data was helpful in convincing you to use this ammunition. That's great. I'm putting this information out there, giving my opinion, because what else are you going to do? But then it's really for you to make a decision about it. I am not against Liberty Ammunition. I think it's a great round. In fact, especially for like 45 ACP, 40 Smith & Wesson, 357 SIG, especially 40 and 45, where like the rounds, 230 grains, 200 grains, 180 grains, you have 15 rounds of that in your mag. That starts to get really heavy. But you put in these 77 grain, 50 grain, 100 grain bullets that are from Liberty ammunition in it, and it really lightens things up, makes it very easy to carry those bigger guns. Really makes a difference, in my opinion, in terms of belt weight, if you know what I mean. So I think that there is a place for these rounds. You may say, this is great. Hey, look, I'm going to stack, some extreme defenders. I'm going to stack some of these. I'm going to have some traditional hull points, and I'm going to lead with hard cast at the end in case I need to get through a lot of barriers. Great. Sounds awesome. Hopefully this was useful to you today. I think that I'm going to keep looking for a different one from Liberty in this case, though, for me. All right. Well, I hope you all appreciated this. I appreciate all of you. Hope everyone has a great week, and let's get to shooting.
From pistols to rifles, we'll take on the best. Review and each weapon, put them to the test. With revolvers and shotguns, we'll break it all down. The Second Amendment protects from the crown. Living for freedom.